Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Now we're back in the tier maker. Unfortunately I didn't really want to do this video, but I am stuck in the hub, so what I wanted to do, what I'm currently working on is like a big overhaul of my new player guide, where I'm just going to go through absolutely everything for a new player so that they can, you know, get all the information they need in one place. It's probably going to be a long video, but I'll chapter it so you can get to parts you need. And there might be some tips and stuff so some of the vets can pick up from that. In the meantime, I'm going to have to do some rankings though, because, yeah, stuck in the hub. I can't show any gameplay or anything off at the moment because there's jack all to do in the hub. I did just message the devs if they could add the event mini games into the hub, so if you sat around for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, you got something to do, because the hub's pretty detrimental to the player base, unfortunately. I've noticed in previous unions and stuff that you lose like about 20%, maybe sometimes more players, just because you sat there waiting in the hub and there's nothing to do. Anyway, so we're going to do ranking today, and probably, well, next week I might have my video out, might not. It's, like I said, it's a long one. It's a lot of work as well, going through like every single detail. I want it to be like so comprehensive that you watch that guide, you know how to play the game. So yeah, that's going to be quite a comprehensive guide, and that might take me a bit of time, but something I'm working on. So it's not all these ranking videos. There is going to be some better content coming, because I know some people don't like these too much. They are, however, useful to a lot of players. So there we go. So let's jump into this ranking and get it over with. So we've got the CV3k here. I'm going to do the CV3k Solar Whale, and I don't have all the parts of the Martial Crux. So if you have got all the modules, or have got some of the modules for the Martial Crux, do chuck them over to me. It'd be great if I can get some screenshots of those, so I can get that one done as well. And then that's all the module rankings out of the way. And it's very unlikely that these are going to change substantially in any time soon. So these rankings should be good for quite a while, and I can get on with some different content. So either way, we are looking at the CV3k for this video. CV3k, one of the better carriers. I prefer it over the Solar Whale. Yes, the Solar Whale can eventually carry more, but at the same time, CV3k isn't slow and doesn't look like a brick. So it's got that going for it, and I actually use these all the time. Pretty much all of my fleets, or since I picked up the CV3k, I've always had 5 of these out as reinforcements for other fleets. Just fantastic support ships. The large hangars allow you to carry, you know, your bombers, which are absurd amounts of damage, especially the V2Sp. I would like some more bomber choices, because there is only the V2Sp, the Stingray, and the Bullfrog, which is a bit unfortunate, but there we go. So M1, this is you get this with the ship. It gives you the 5 large aircraft and 3 corvettes. It's 100% S tier. It's probably the most important module on the CV3k that allows it to do such versatile work, being able to carry in T800s, for an example. So you got like great anti-air, and then being able to also carry in, you know, your bombers, so your V2Sps, your Stingrays, or even your Bullfrogs aren't, you know, terrible in some situations. So it is S tier, and it has to be. It is probably best in slot for certain. We then have the M2 slot. I'm going to put it in B tier. I was testing this a little bit after the recent system damage changes, just before the server ended, and they did do the system damage. They target weapons, and they only target weapons as far as I could see, and then they just knock out a weapon, move on, move on. The damage isn't fantastic on them, unfortunately, and that was with some TP put into the system to try and buff up the damage output on them. And yeah, it didn't really do all that much. I just think they're a bit too low on the damage aspect for the UAVs. But they are untargetable, so, you know, you could lose... well, actually, no, if you do lose your M's, I think the M2 does get taken out as well. I need to double check that. I think that the M2 slot, so you get the 5 large fighters anyway, but you also get these UAVs. I think if you lose the main system, I think it does take these out, but I need to double check that. I have got a battle report, I think. Either way, the B tier, they're okay, not great. There you go. M3, you replace the 3 Corvette slots for 3 large fighter slots. Now, the issue here, and the reason I'm going to put it in A, is it is a good system, but like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's only 3 bombers you want to bring in, and the main system carries 5, and you only get, what, 30 if you bring in all 3, but even then, you're probably only ever going to bring in your Stingrays, and you'll also probably bring in, well, you'll almost certainly bring in your Vitus Bs if you have them. So you've only got 20, 20 fighters you really want to bring in on these M's large slots. Yes, you can put small ships in here, or medium or small fighters. So it kind of doesn't serve too much of a purpose. If you are using these as like solely for your fighter swarms, and you're not bringing Corvettes in on them, it does work a little bit better, because you could put your Sandrakes and stuff in here instead, or your Spore, your Mistrals, and then you still got your 20 slots, so 4 CV3Ks. The main system's enough to carry all your bombers in, which means if you bring your 5th one in as your 5th reinforcement, that's another 5 slots you've got there for fighters. So you could put the M3 on, and that will give you an extra 15 fighters to bring in, which isn't really a bad shout. So you got 15 plus the other 5, so 20. So you could bring in, you know, your 10 Sandrakes and your 10 Mistrals on these, and it does work quite well. However, I feel that something like the Tundra aircraft or the Ceres just does it a little bit better for a little bit lower CP. They can go into the fleet then as well, and then you know you've always got your anti-air in your fleet. But it is an option, so it's going to go to A tier. It's not a bad system. I personally prefer bringing in Corvettes, but there you go. You got your M3 if you do want it, and it does okay. So your A1 slot also comes with the ship. It's got a cannon on it and some anti-air cannons. The anti-air cannons don't seem to do anything. And then the main cannon itself just doesn't seem to do anything either. It's very low damage. It's not particularly very fast firing or anything like that, just average. Its hit rate's okay, but its damage just, it isn't really there. It's very much a support weapon on the CV3k in comparison to, say, the Wales weapon systems. Your A2, again, it's okay. It's a missile system. It has better anti-air capability than the 4 cannons that you get with the A1 slot. But again, it's anti-air, it doesn't quite work out particularly well. This has got the included interception ability, albeit I haven't seen it working properly on the CV3k. That could be due to the fact that your mid-row generally gets targeted before the CV3k's row, so it's not really doing all that much there. So I'm going to put it in B as well. You can interswitch those. You can put A1 or A2. It really isn't going to affect the performance of the ship overall. We then have a look at the B slots. So in B1, you have the missile defense. Again, it's going in here. It's pretty much the same as what I said about A2. It's not particularly great. It has some AA potential. It has interception as well. I tested these out, running both of these together last server, and I didn't notice anything. Like, honestly, it really didn't make any difference having the extra missile slot on B1 and A2 for interception. And I think that's due to the fact the CV3k's back row, so it's not targeted before the mid row, which is a bit unfortunate. But, you know, it's got potential. If a buff happens to this interception capability, we might see it being a little bit more useful later down the line. We then have the B2 system. I rank that at S tier. It gives you an additional 3 Corvettes to bring in. It's fantastic. That's, you know, 6 Corvettes and 5 large fighters per CV3k. It's just really good. If you've got the right Corvettes, definitely check that out. It's really, really powerful. We then have the info UAVs. I'm going to put them in C. It's nice having the support capability of info UAVs, but again, they don't work as well as you'd hope. The hit rate buff isn't fantastic. It's about 10%, 10 to 15%. And you don't have any control of what they're buffing the hit rate on. They could be buffing the hit rate on something that doesn't need it, or, you know, you want them to buff something that does need it, but you can't guarantee it. It's all RNG, and RNG, you just try and stay away from as much RNG as possible, ideally, in this game. Random numbers just kills you. So there we have it. Ideally, you're running M1 and B2. M3 is also not bad, and M2's average. So yeah, generally you're running M1, which is great because that just makes the CV3k fantastic out the gate, because you don't need additional modules really to run it. It's just great out the gate. The B2 slot, even better. You're adding 3 more vets in there, and the A1, A2, you take your pick there. I might try again the A2 just to see if I can get it working a bit better next server, but we'll see. So there will be Solar Whale 1 coming of this ranking modules. There will also be one for the Marshall Crux as soon as I can find the modules for it. I think I've got all the whale ones, so I should be good there. And then yeah, then hopefully I can try and get out this, you know, big guide on basically, you know, a big guide on how to play the game for new players to help them out. Because I've noticed a big influx of comments on my YouTube videos going, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it's very new player questions. So I'll definitely try and get that out sooner rather than later. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The algorithm loves it. And I'll catch you guys next time.